Proyecto Jardin grows food and it grows community. It grows and builds relationships. Many people experience the act of growing food as a sacred act. So in that respect, it also taps some very like deep subconscious part of the self, and it kind of realigns our connection, I guess, with the earth, with each other, and with the rhythms in nature. I've heard people say just that they come here to de-stress and to feel better. The group that wants to grow food would come together and make decisions collectively as to what to grow, when and where, and distribute labor as opposed to distributing land. So that is sometimes a difficult concept to implement because we're living in a world that has commodified land, and the value of land and the value of you, if you are working that land, is measured by how much you produce. And we're going against that paradigm. Well, it means different things for different people. And I have a story very fresh in my mind about a month ago, maybe a month and a half ago. One of the señoras that works here had never eaten quelites before, and she kept pulling them out and treating them as weeds, because they are. In English, they're called lamb's quarters. And I remember telling a friend that was visiting from the west side one time, oh, this is the poor man's spinach, because when there's food shortage, or even when there's not food shortage, families would send the kids out into the fields to look for these little weeds, and quelite means little green plant. So, and so it's considered spinach. It's related to spinach. It has many of the same nutrients as spinach. So if you don't have money to buy spinach, you would eat quelite, right? And so I told him, this is a poor man's spinach, and he said, well, it might be the poor man's spinach in East LA, but on the west side, it's the rich man's delicacy, and you can get $10 for a little, you could sell a little bag of quelite for $10 on the west side, because it's lamb's quarters. And I thought, oh, really? When I was a stay-at-home mom, I decided that I wanted to do something different for our family, and that's when I learned about organic gardening. And I'm basically a self-taught gardener. I read all the books that people were reading at the time and taught myself. And I had a lot of hippie friends in Ojai, and they had their own gardens, so I kind of learned from them. And then I just kept doing it. We're trying something different with education as well. We're trying to observe the natural way that people learn in community, and as much as possible, we hope to avoid these very formal approaches to teaching gardening where you sit in a classroom and take notes. We do have workshops, but the workshops that we do are more like apprenticeships. Most of the learning that's going to happen is going to happen outside of that classroom. How you're going to take that, internalize it, make it your own, and apply it, that's where learning is happening. If I were in charge of designing a healthy future for Boyle Heights, I think I would start by doing something like what we did 2 months ago when the young people, Selena and her crew, came. We had about 14 to 16 youth, and the very first day they were here, we sat in a circle and we got to know each other for 2 hours. And we understood each other's dreams, aspirations, our fears, our needs. We laughed a lot. It's not about welfare anymore, give me. It's about, yeah, you know, I may need to have a little help in the beginning, but just to get started, because we can create our own, we can generate our own wealth and build our own food system, school system that's responsive to our needs.